Hi everyone, this is Pierrick from P2DESIGN. I've just finished the second stream where I have been animating the spider. I've just made the attack animation. The full streaming should now be available on my YouTube channel. If you've missed it, just go watch it. As before, I'm making an highlight video where I will show you the main step I've been covering during this streaming. So let's get started. I'm using the same model and rig as on the previous streaming, so it has a mask modifier that allows me to separate the body and the legs so that I can focus on the torso or on the leg while animating without being disturbed by the other parts of the model. Before I start this streaming, I've made a few other animations for this character, especially the idle animation, so that every other action animation may start from the idle pose, so that there is the nice blending in the game. For this particular animation, I will use more of a standard workflow by primarily blocking the main pose. So the first one is an anticipation before she jumps into the air and attack the target. Our goal here is to gather energy before jumping, so she may lean a bit backward before she jumps. So for the time being, I'm using a constant interpolations of the frame, and I will set a new pose every 5 keyframes. This is an arbitrary value, but as soon as I'm not considering the timing for the time being, I'm just setting the main pose every 5 frames, and then I will play with the time. The full blocking process took me about 20 minutes to be achieved. So I was blocking the main position of the torso, but also of the leg. My goal was to slightly offset each leg so that it doesn't look symmetrical in the animation. It's called twinning whenever you have, for example, your both arms in the same position and it doesn't look good, it looks robotic. So as soon as you are planning your animation by blocking the main poses, you will try to avoid as much as possible this twinning phenomenon. During the process, I've made sure that I had very dynamical poses, and whenever my character was slowing down, when it reached its highest position or the lowest one, there was some absorption phenomenon, meaning that you have this slowing down effect, but also the body will bend toward the ground or toward the sky. Before working specifically on the legs, I've made some timing by moving big chunks of keyframes. Currently the wall poses, trying to see how it could look. One of the difficulty with this animation wasn't really to make her attack, but to make her come back to her original position, meaning that she will have to work backward, and so I will have to animate the leg, and this is quite complicated when you are working on the spider. So first thing was to offset each leg in their animation, and then I've been working on the torso at this very specific moment when she's coming back, only in the end, because I didn't know exactly how the leg movement will appear. And the thing is, in the very beginning, the torso is leading the animation, meaning that we can understand that the energy could come from the torso, but in the end, the legs are pulling the torso back. Even if it's not physically correct, it was easier for me for the backward work to animate first the leg and then try to make the torso movement matching these legs movements. Then I eventually got a little deeper in my timing by working on the different parts of the body. This is a pretty tedious work to offset each leg and try to make them match each other, but it's very important to do this at this moment, because if it doesn't work during the blocking stage, it won't work that much better during the polishing stage. So once done, I had quite blocky but cool animation. At this stage I was able to isolate the torso and start working on the whole torso position, working with the curves, at least on more than half of the animation, at least until the moment she's getting back. At this stage I have kept the curves very simple, as I will add more movement once I have polished the leg, because the movement of the body will follow the leg when she comes back. I've polished the curve, making sure I have some momentum when she's reaching the highest point, a bit floating in the air for a more stylized movement, then a good acceleration and absorption on the impact, like a follow-through animation. Then I could work on the abdomen, the chest and the head to follow the movement and increase this dynamism and momentum we had with the main torso bone animation. Now it was time for the most tedious moment of this streaming, which was polishing each leg position. So I've slightly revised their timing to make sure they were offset and behaving one from each other correctly, and then I had to revise each curve, making sure that I have an acceleration before an impact and stuff like this. The cool thing is that once done, I finally add a reference to move the main torso left and right based on the back leg position. Each time a back leg was lifting, the weight of the body should move on the opposite side, and so I was able to give a slight zigzag movement to the spider, making her movement more natural. And then I could work on the different parts of the torso and make a slight follow-through animation based on the global torso movement I've inputted just before. I finally added some subtle movements, making the chest and the head slightly spinning depending on the energy and depending on the side she was moving, just to break the symmetry of the movement. In the end of the streaming, I've also shown some work in progress for this game, so there will be new streaming with rigging for game characters and also a bit of work in progress of the Dragon Knight rigging course. So hope you've enjoyed this highlight and hope to see you on next streaming. Bye!